Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It is a very blustery and gray day here in Florida. We are the day after Hurricane Milton rolled in. Because I'm definitely just going to stay home, not drive anywhere, I thought it'd be the perfect day to start a reading vlog. And today we're going to be reading the highest and the lowest rated books on my TBR. We'll have to go on Goodreads for this to see each of these books' ratings. I have a feeling I know what the highest rated book is because this book has just such an overinflated rating, but I am curious to see what the lowest rated book is going to be. Pulling up my Goodreads now, I'm gonna go to my want to read list. Currently, it's sorted by the date added, but I'm going to change this to average rating. Okay, so one thing I'm already noticing is the very top rated book isn't even out yet. It's Beg, Borrow, or Steal, which is book 3 in the When in Rome interconnected standalone series. So we obviously can't read that because it's not out yet. If we go to the second highest rated, we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Beautifully, this is actually on my monthly TBR. This has over 2 million ratings and it's sitting at a 4.57. That is just insanity. This book took the world by storm a year or two ago. I had heard a lot about it even then, even though I wasn't fully in my reader era, but now I think it's time. Let's get to the one I'm worried about, which is our lowest rated book. I'm just gonna go ahead and reverse the sorting. So we have Phoenix Flame by Sara Holland. This is book 2 in a series, and I read book 1, Havenfall, a couple months ago. I read it in the vlog where Hunter picked my reads for the week. It's a YA fantasy novel. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't absolutely love the first book. I think I gave it like a 3.25. The fact that this one is my lowest rated makes me concerned because its average rating is 3.34. but it has only been rated 1,700 times. I don't think I'm gonna buy this one physically because it's not projected to be a very good book. I don't want to waste money on the physical copy. I'm gonna check really quick if my library has it or if it's on Kindle Unlimited and check back in. I feel like there's not a really easy way to read this book because my library doesn't have it and it's not on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm gonna go ahead and purchase this on my Kindle, but it is like 10 bucks, which just feels too much. Just purchased it. It says the average reading time is only 4.5 hours, which is really short. It's only like 270 pages, which is also very short. So luckily I think we'll be able to read this book today. I'm gonna go ahead, hopefully get to around halfway and then check back in about the plot of the story and what you guys can expect if you want to pick this up. To throw on a light because it is so dark outside, but wanted to give you a 46% update. This book reads so fast. Even though I have just over halfway left, I only have 2 hours left of the book. Since this is book 2, I'm gonna focus on the plot of book 1 since a lot of the things that are going on right now are a spoiler. So in Havenfall, we follow like a 17-year-old girl, her name's Maddie, and her family history, and specifically her uncle, are the innkeepers at a place called Havenfall. And it's the safe haven between different magical realms. Delegates of each of the land meet once a year at this summit to have trade negotiations, create treaties, alliances, things of that nature. Maddie has been going to Havenfall every year growing up during the summers. However, this year is a little bit different because something happens to her uncle and she is forced to step up as the interim innkeeper, even though she has no experience, no training, and lacks a lot of the common sense necessary to do that job. She uncovers a couple different problems, a couple secret things that are going on, and I would say like 2 of the 3 conflicts are resolved in book 1. Now, what's really weird about book 2, Phoenix Flame, This book takes place during the same summer. It takes place just a couple weeks after book 1. So it kind of feels like both of these books should have just been a longer singular book. So that leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Like, separating these books kind of feels like a cash grab. It feels like just forcing people to pay double the amount, and I don't really like that. Also, our main female character, Maddie, she's just so I don't want to say dumb, so I'm gonna say naive. Again, she just lacks all training and common sense for a lot of the problems that they're facing, and it's just like a very frustrating character to read about. I'm on chapter 13 and I feel like I have to take a break and get distracted by my phone literally every 2 chapters. If I had to give it a rating at this point so far, I'd give it probably like a 2.5. We did just have a little bit of a plot twist come up. We had a character come into play that I was not expecting. So I'm hoping that the second half of the book is a little bit more interesting now that they're going to be in the picture, but we shall keep on reading. I will keep you guys updated.
I'm an expert at overthinking things that I shouldn't. You come across as a cool guy, someone
I feel like I'm really looking forward for this book to be done. I have 1 hour and 19 minutes left. I thought we could do a little get ready portion while we debrief about Phoenix Flame. I also did a little shop at Sephora and I plan on using some of these things to get ready, so let's do a little unboxing along with it, just to spice things up, you know? So Phoenix Flame, the lowest book on my TBR. I ended up rating this a 1 star. So it is living up to all of its expectations. Looks like the first thing we got here is my little birthday beauty gift. This one actually is really good this year. We're going to a wedding and I thought it'd be really nice to have some minis to travel with. So I have a mini cleanser from Youth to the People, the kale and green tea superfood cleanser. I use this cleanser for years. I have since stopped using it as my day-to-day, but I do overall love it. And then we have the Superfood Air Whip Moisture Cream, which again, I used to use all the time, but I don't use it anymore. And we got a little sachet of the overnight mask. Also, something I treated myself to is this little AHA body scrub. Going into the winter months, obviously the skin gets dry. I'm also going to be doing a lot more fake tans. And a body scrub is just nice to help exfoliate the skin, get those dead skin cells off. Huge reason that I had to place this order, and something that we're going to be starting off with here soon, is the YSL Touche Eclat. This is my favorite under eye concealer. I get it in shade 1 because I want it to be really brightening, and it has a pinky tone, which I find very flattering for under the eyes because, as you can see, your girl gets dark and blue, so having a pink to counteract it is very necessary. So with this now unboxed, let's start with my base. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix with my hands the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter, which is basically a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury one. And then I also have the NYX Hydro Touch. This I just randomly purchased at the drugstore, literally no rhyme or reason to this purchase. I just wanted something that would like water down and be a good mixer for this primer, because the primer on its own is like a little bit too much. So I like to mix this. So I get a good amount of the Halo Glow on my fingers. Take the Hydro Touch, do just kind of like a blob, mix those together. Okay, so why didn't I like Phoenix Flame? So the problems that I was having with our main character, Maddie, just continued to get more and more intense as the book went on. And I understand that in a YA book, they're not going to be the most mature or always make the best decisions. But if young kids are going to read this book, I wouldn't ever want them reading this thinking that Maddie is something to look up to. Takes quite a few clicks to get this started. There we go. I wouldn't want a young girl to ever read this book and think that Maddie lying to her friends and family, betraying those around her, making extremely selfish decisions, putting others in harm's way, is something that anyone should look up to. And not only did she do all of those things, have all of those terrible characteristics, but I don't feel like she was ever held accountable for any of her actions. All of the characters around her were so, oh God, what is the word? The exact word I'm looking for is eluding me. But the characters around her would apologize for things that they didn't even need to apologize for. And she would be extremely combative in the discussions with them. There would be whole chunks of the book towards the end where she is just being so rude to anyone and everyone around her that doesn't agree with her, which again is not a good thing to be teaching young people. We need to be teaching people that it's okay to disagree and how to have disagreements in a healthy way. We don't need to be putting on a pedestal characters that treat others like shit and then get away with it. I just don't appreciate that characterization at all. One quote that I highlighted because I felt like it honestly summed up this book fairly well. Maddie takes over for Marcus as the innkeeper because it's through the family lineage. It is known that whenever Marcus steps down, that Maddie is the most likely person to step up and take the role as innkeeper. And she just loves to put herself and those around her in harm's way. And someone around her says, "You're heir to the innkeeper for the sake of Havenfall, for the summit, for everyone. Do you ever think of developing just a bit of self-preservation instinct?" Which I was like, that's literally the best quote and valid question that exists in this book, because the girl has no self-preservation instincts. She is so impulsive. And this person that poses this question to her and is bringing up valid gaps in her logic, she just dismisses, gets in an argument with them, and never talks to them again. I liked every other character around her. I liked all the side characters. Just this female main character was just one of the most frustrating people I have ever had the displeasure of reading. Beyond just how much I really didn't like her character, there were some large gaps in the storyline. Throughout book 1 and continuing on to book 2, there's a bit of a love triangle going on. The love triangle is never resolved. One of the tries in the triangle disappears. We have no idea what happens to them. Never hear of them again. Unresolved. Also, at the start of this book, Maddie had a task to complete. And to keep it very vague, let's say that she had to talk to 20 different people. The book starts off with, she talks to 2 people and has an absolute just woe is me moment, dramatic meltdown after doing 2 of the 20 things she needs to do. She goes back to the task to try and complete it. She talks to 3 or 4 more people that she needed to talk to. And then the task that she was working on never gets done. Almost completely abandoned within the book. We don't talk about it from chapter 4 to chapter 23. And at the very end of the book, within one sentence, we learn that it was never complete. She never did the 20 out of the 20 that she needed to do. With how many things were left unfinished, the whole structure and pacing really does confuse me with this book. I don't think it makes sense to separate the summer into 2 portions when the stories are so connected. In my opinion, it would have made sense for this just to be one story since everything was so connected. Otherwise, since there's still unanswered pieces, unfinished business, if you're not going to make it 1, make it 3. Because she does a lot of telling versus showing. So many sections were just glossed over with, and then I told him the story of this. And then we caught up over things that happened for the last X amount of time. And it would be a paragraph. So many things just felt like underdeveloped and rushed. I do think this book deserves the very low rating that it has on Goodreads. And even if you are someone who really does enjoy a YA fantasy, I really severely would not recommend this book. So I'm sorry y'all that this one was a complete doozy. I'm hoping that we do a complete 180 from this with Fourth Wing. I have a lot of hope that this is going to be a 5 stars. Continuing on with our haul, I got a replacement for my Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable Melting Blush in Nearly Apricot. This is the current Nearly Apricot I have. She is well loved. She's seen better days. At this point, I've hit pan so thoroughly, it's hard to even get product out. So I treated myself to a new one. Look how gorgeous she is. Blush is literally life. Whenever it comes to my makeup routine, I love a really bright blush and a lot of blush. I feel like it is what makes me look human. And then I'll go kind of into my eyes. And then whatever product I have left, I'll typically take over my nose. I know makeup trends come and go. I'm sure the overly blushed look won't be cool in a few years, but I don't even care. Something else I got from Rare Beauty, which I haven't gotten before, Soft Pinch Tinted Lip Oil, and I got it in the color Hope. I'm really excited for this because I absolutely love my Dior lip oils, but they can be pretty pricey. I wanted something that maybe had a little bit more coverage. Look how pretty that packaging is. I think this will go well with my blush. So let's take a look. Wow, that's really close to my natural lip color. It definitely is more tinted than my Dior lip oil. Like, this actually has a color. If I swatch it on my hand, there's actually pigment to that. But it is very close to my natural lip color, so this is definitely giving your lips but better. I like that it isn't too warm tone because I feel like on accident, all of my lip products are too warm. And it is nice and hydrating. It feels very light on the lips. The more I'm letting it settle, I do like it. I'm glad about that. Final thing that I got is such a repeat purchase, it's not even funny. This Fresh Advanced Therapy Lip Treatment. I have bought 30 of these in my lifetime. This is my go-to chapstick. I feel like it's a chapstick that doesn't harm your lips because you know how like standard chapstick, I'm pretty sure it just dries out your lips more and more over time, so you become like dependent on it. I don't feel like that's the case with this one. But thanks for listening to me yapping. I really hope that editing Tyler can make all that I was saying succinct, because it certainly wasn't whenever I just verbalized it all. Quite the disappointing read, but we move forward. Let me show you my makeup in natural lighting. But this is how we are looking. The lips are lipping right now, but I do still think it's pretty. I think it's fresh. I think it'll be really nice in spring, summer. Maybe not giving totally fall, autumn vibes, but I still like it nonetheless. And next time I talk to you guys, we will be chatting about Fourth Wing. Just got to chapter 5, 12%. Violet is so annoying. I think I'm extra sensitive right now because of our previous book and just some other books I've been reading in between. This book takes place at a war college where there are different sectors you can go into. Violet was trained since birth to be in the scribe quadrant, which is basically just like the writers or record keepers. There's a healers quadrant, infantry, and then the writers. As most of you probably know, it's riding dragons, which you can see a little dragon on the cover. So she was meant to go to the scribe, but her mom is a military commander and says that like everyone within their family are writers. And so Violet only had 6 months to train to join this quadrant, and she gets through the first test, and now she's starting her training. And so far she's just like so annoying and naive, and like they keep just talking about how ruthless this college is, and she's grown up with her mom being in the military and seeing how ruthless the war can be, and yet she like risked her safety on the first obstacle by swapping shoes with this girl in front of her who she's never met before, so that the girl in front of her has a better chance of surviving. And her older sister had just told her like, don't make friends, keep to yourself. And literally first day, Violet's risking her safety and is like, can I trust this girl? Yeah, she's my friend. You don't know her. And then also her sister is like, stay away from this guy named Zayden because Zayden's dad was killed by Violet's mom because his dad was a traitor. So she's like, stay away from him. As soon as he figures out who you are, he's gonna want to kill you. Just stay away. Violet bumps into him not even 5 pages later and keeps like antagonizing him with her actions. I don't feel like the author has done enough work to make her lack of self-preservation endearing. I just find it really annoying. I was kind of trying to think about who is someone that is self-sacrificing that I respect, and I thought of Katniss Everdeen. I feel like she's the perfect amount of self-sacrificing because she obviously sacrifices herself to the Hunger Games in position of her sister. And you can understand why she would make that choice. But also, she has a very clear head and level-headed expectations whenever she walks into that tournament and isn't under the impression that she's here to make friends. She's like very prickly and unlikable to those around her. But I'm like, I respect that as a character. I do not respect Violet thus far. I don't understand why she's so naive when everything in her history and the friends and family she have around her would really break that sense of immaturity. So, I did see a friend I have on Goodreads gave this 3.5, and she said that the first third of this book really wasn't that great to her, but then it picks up afterwards. So I'm definitely gonna push through. Unfortunately, it still says that I have like 9 hours left of this book, which just feels like cruel and unusual punishment considering I'm not really liking it so far. This was a very long check-in. I've been talking for a really long time now, so I need to stop yapping and I guess keep reading. I'm just really hoping that this gets better. Hey friends, we're back in the bathroom today to chat about Fourth Wing. I have been reading what feels like so much today. I feel like I've been reading for eons, and I am 41% through this book. I'm on page like 270, which if I was reading just one of my cute romance novels means that I'd be almost done with this, but naturally I'm not even halfway through. I will say, I think like the last 10% of the book has been the best 10% for me thus far. We're learning a lot more about the dragons and the writer's connections to the dragons and different powers that they have, which has been nice just to get a break from so much of Violet's inner dialogue. Also, we've learned a bit more about Zayden and his powers. Ugh, I don't want to spoil this for someone who doesn't know this. He has kind of a combination of the same powers as some of people's favorite book boyfriends, maybe from the ACOTAR series. So I do like that. It's definitely a book boyfriend type I can get behind. Honestly, for me at this point, he's kind of the best part of the story. I really wish this was dual POV. I'm just finding Violet so annoying. Like, she's not as bad as the girl in the first book, but they have, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of negative similarities. And because I just keep reading about these frustrating women, I feel like I'm starting to get to a major book slump. Like, I am just struggling through this book right now. Another sad thing is I really don't fully enjoy the audiobook narrator. I think she honestly makes Violet's character pretty much insufferable. She just has a voice that like is so whiny sometimes, and I already find Violet whiny enough. So that's unfortunate because having to physically read it the entire time makes me take more breaks, and I do not have the time for this to be extended. I'm supposed to be getting this video up for you tomorrow, and I am 41% through this book. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. I think I'm just gonna have to break down and listen to the audiobook. I've also just been spending like too much time on the couch and I'm just getting bored. So I think because I got some new puzzles for my birthday, I think I'm gonna do like a little puzzle because typically I can lock in and like 3 hours will just go by while I do a puzzle. And if I listen to the audiobook that whole time, I should make a pretty decent dent. Because if I think back to the hype surrounding this book, I think most of the hype does lie around their relationship and Xaden's character. I don't really feel like I've heard a lot of people hyping up Violet's character, and I think honestly for good reason at this point. Like, the girl is really not a strong female character type. And one thing that's really frustrating for me as a reader is Violet will go on and on in her head about how she knows she's weak, she's always been weak, her bones are brittle, etc. But then anytime someone points out that she's weak or, you know, tries to help her or deter her from being a writer because she's weak, she gets really pissed off at them and like doesn't want to hear about it. And I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe that other than like, if you know something is true and you speak that truth to yourself, but other people around you aren't allowed to say it, I don't really like you. Like, it can't be both. It can't be both that you know this is true and this is a valid thing to say, but then also like not let anyone speak the truth around you. Like, I don't know, something about it is just very irritating to me. And I'm gonna blame that on the author. I think the author is just not solid enough in her characters. How she first presents Xaden is one way, and then now already at 41%, he's very different. Like, his character just doesn't feel fluid to me, and Violet is just constantly contradicting herself. I feel like our characters and their traits are very wavering, just depending on the mood and what's more convenient to the story. I am noticing, like, now as the year has progressed, I think this is like my 83rd book I've read this year, I am just getting so much more picky with my characters and my stories. Like, I am figuring out what I like a bit more. And I really do enjoy a strong female character. If you guys have recommendations for strong female leads where I don't need to constantly hear about how weak they are, please leave me recommendations below. I have heard that the main character in the Throne of Glass series is a very strong female, so I'm excited for that. I just got that series for my birthday, so I'll be picking it up soon. I kind of feel like they're few and far between. We're just inundated with weak women, and I kind of went off about this in my September wrap-up, but I'm just bored. Like, I don't feel like that characterization of women is unique. Like, how many times have women been depicted as meek, less than humans compared to men? And like, why are female authors just continuing that narrative? So that is where I'm at thus far. I feel like at this point, if I had to rate this book, so far my experience is maybe like a 3 stars. As mentioned, I think I will be starting a puzzle. I'll make sure to film some of it and hopefully it is satisfying to watch. Okay guys, it is time for our final check-in. I have been editing this video and I've noticed how much I've been yapping about this book, so I'm gonna keep this quick and snappy. Fourth Wing. Does it live up to the hype? Is the obnoxiously high rating on Goodreads justified? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I think this book is overhyped. The rating that I feel really good about is a 3.75. I think it's closer to a 4 than a 3, but I don't think that it deserves a 4-star rating. The first 30 to 40% of this book are just so painful to get through, but because this book is so long, that's like 250 pages of just not that great of a story. And I think you're asking too much of your reader to just kind of put up with a mediocre story for that long. I will say the second half of the story really picks up and gets really, really good. I did enjoy the last 25% a lot. Lots of action, couple betrayals going on. I knew somebody was going to betray us. I thought it was going to be different than who it actually was. So that was interesting to watch. I really enjoyed seeing their relationship come together, and they had some nice spicy moments. However, I think this book could have gotten to a 4.5, potentially a 4.75 if we had dual POV. Fourth Wing is on Kindle Unlimited, but I also had it as an audiobook through Audible. And with Audible, 2 bonus chapters were included at the end through Xaden's perspective. And oh my gosh, I wish we got some breaks in the story with his POV. It was so refreshing to get out of Violet's head. I wonder why in such a long fantasy novel the author didn't want to give us more of his perspective. Kind of disappointing to me. I felt like the plot felt eerily similar to Serpent and the Wings of Night. I don't know, this book just really didn't blow me away. I would say the strongest things about it were Xaden and the dragons. The weakest things about it were Violet and the length of the book and just the overall pacing. I think I will continue the series and pick up book 2. However, I'm not going to be in a rush because I know that so many people have said that Iron Flame is a major letdown. So that makes me hesitant to pick up such a long book because Iron Flame is even longer than Fourth Wing, if you can believe it. But if you've made it to this part in the video, I just want to give you a massive thank you for sitting through and listening to me for this long. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. As I referenced a few times in this one, it was just recently my birthday, so the next one is going to be a little birthday book haul, and then we have some more reading vlogs coming up after that. So this is where I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.